There's blood on the bathroom floor. Not a lot. Just a single drop on the white grout between the marble tiles. Tiana kneels beside it with a Q-tip, wiping it away like this is just another Tuesday night. If that opening already pulled you in, hit subscribe and drop where you're watching from, because this story only gets crazier from here. She doesn't flinch. Doesn't rush. Just methodically erases it. Suk-jin watches her from the doorway, completely silent. And something in his gut tightens. Normal people run from blood that isn't theirs. Normal people ask questions. But Tiana Ellis? She's anything but normal. And he just let her into his home. It's Tuesday night, just past 9 p.m. The massive Pyeongchangdong estate sits like a concrete fortress on the hillside, all sleek lines and cold marble. The kind of place where even whispers echo. Suk-jin just wrapped up a business meeting that ended badly for someone. The household staff move with their heads down, making themselves invisible. The blood on the floor belongs to one of Suk-jin's business associates, who made the mistake of skimming from shipments. Not enough for most people to notice. But Suk-jin isn't most people. Upstairs in his office, he watches Tiana on his tablet. The security feed shows her from above, small, efficient, focused. He absently taps the jade worry stone in his pocket, a habit that surfaces only when something truly interests him. 3 quick taps, then a slow roll between his fingers. His finger zooms in on her face as she cleans. Nothing. He taps a note into his phone, useful. With a swipe, he switches to another camera. This one shows his 9-year-old daughter's room. Min-jun sits on her bed, still in her school uniform. Face blotchy. Eyes red. Earlier that evening, she'd come home with a scraped knee. Jin-ho had pushed her again. 3rd time this month. Go clean up for dinner, was all Suk-jin had said before turning away. He opens his desk drawer, pulls out a small velvet pouch. Inside is a jade bracelet, delicate, expensive, exactly like the one her mother used to wear. He's had it for months, waiting for, what? The right moment? He puts the bracelet away again. Later. It's almost midnight now. Tiana's doing final rounds when she spots Min-jun sitting alone on a bench near the koi pond. Still in her uniform. Hugging her knees to her chest. Tiana doesn't rush over. Just walks up and sits on the far end of the bench. Min-jun sniffles, quickly wiping her eyes. Crying's okay, you know, Tiana says. Min-jun looks up, surprised. Dad says it's weak, she mumbles, voice small and watery. Maybe, Tiana allows. But what matters is what you do after. Like what? Min-jun fidgets with her uniform sleeve. We get stronger, Tiana says. So next time, it doesn't hurt as much. How? Min-jun asks, and the word comes out hungry, desperate. What happened? Tiana's eyes scan the garden perimeter even as she speaks. Jin-ho pushed me during PE. Min-jun points to her scraped knee. He said I'm too slow and everyone laughed and I hate it. The words tumble out in a rush, the way children speak when they've been holding something in too long. Tiana's fingers twitch slightly, an aborted motion, as if she'd instinctively started to reach for something that wasn't there. Then you learn to be faster. Or you learn how to fall without getting hurt. Can you show me? Min-jun blurts, scooting closer. Nobody will help me and the teachers just say, tell an adult, but that doesn't work, Anne. Tomorrow, Tiana interrupts. It's late. You need sleep. Min-jun jumps up, suddenly bouncing with 9-year-old energy. Really? You promise? Pinky promise? She sticks out her little finger. Something flickers across Tiana's face, surprise, maybe. As if she's encountered a custom from another planet. After a moment's hesitation, she links her pinky with Minjun's. Bed. Now, is all she says. Minjun scurries inside, footsteps too loud on the marble floors. Meanwhile, Sukjin scrolls through security footage. He stumbles across the garden feed, sees Tiana with Minjun. He notices how Tiana's hands briefly form fists when Minjun points to her injured knee. More interesting still, the way she scanned the garden. A deliberate 180-degree sweep. He freezes the footage, zooms in on her hands. The way she holds them, slightly open, relaxed but ready. Not how a maid stands. Not how anyone stands unless they've been trained to respond in fractions of seconds. Sukjin closes the tablet. Opens it again. Pulls up her employment file. Former U.S. military administration. Clean background check. References that checked out too perfectly. On impulse, he picks up his phone, sends a text to his head of security, Ellis. Get me everything. Military records. Every alias. Every address. The reply comes quickly, now, sir. It's midnight. Sukjin stares at the frozen image on his screen, at the woman who just promised to teach his daughter how to fight back. Yes, now, he types. And activate audio surveillance in the training room. The alarm goes off at 5 a.m. Tiana's eyes open instantly. No slow wake-up, no lingering in bed. One moment asleep, the next fully alert. Her staff quarters are small and impersonal. A narrow bed. A wooden dresser. A mirror on the wall. No photos. No mementos. Nothing that says anyone actually lives here. She moves to the bathroom, splashes cold water on her face. Brushes her teeth with mechanical precision. Every movement economical, like she's rationing motion itself. The only personal item in the entire room is hidden beneath a loose floorboard under her bed, a cheap burner phone with a prepaid SIM card. She checks it quickly. No messages. Puts it back. Standing in front of her mirror, Tiana straightens her shoulders. Then consciously lets them slump forward. Relaxes her vigilant gaze into something softer, emptier. Loosens her stance. The transformation from whoever she really is into, Tiana the maid, happens in seconds. For just a flash, another image overlaps with her reflection. A girl, maybe 14, standing in another room, before another mirror. Thin. Hungry-looking. Bruised knuckles. Again, says a woman's voice, cold and clinical. They shouldn't see you. They should see whatever you want them to see. The girl in the memory adjusts her posture. Changes her expression. Better, says the voice. If they notice you, you've already failed. Back in the present, Tiana blinks the memory away. Checks her reflection one more time. Perfect. Forgettable. By 5:30, she's in the kitchen, brewing coffee for the household staff. The cook won't arrive until 6:15. The gardener at 7 o'clock. The rest of the cleaning staff at 7:30. She likes this quiet hour. She wipes down counters that are already clean. Adjusts flowers in vases. But her eyes are cataloging everything. 6 seconds between security camera sweeps in the main hallway. A blind spot near the eastern staircase. The gardener who pockets small items when he thinks no one's watching. The cook who talks too much about the family schedule. Most importantly, she's mapping Sukjin's routine. Coffee at exactly 7:30. Leaves by 8:15. Always checks security feeds before bed. Never sleeps more than 6 hours. Takes business calls in the soundproof study on the west side of the house. She's been trained to memorize floor plans in minutes, escape routes in seconds. This house is just another box to break out of when the time comes. At 7:50, Minjun enters the dining room for breakfast. Alone, as usual. Suk-jin left 15 minutes ago, another business meeting. Minjun slumps in her chair, pushing cereal around her bowl without eating. Tiana brings her a glass of orange juice. She sets it directly beside Minjun, not on the sideboard where the staff usually leave things. Minjun looks up, surprised. Gives a small, tentative smile that transforms her whole face. "You remembered," she says. Tiana doesn't smile back. "You don't like the pulp. You pick it out with your spoon." Minjun blinks, clearly startled that someone noticed such a small detail about her preferences. The other staff always forget. "I pay attention," Tiana says simply. Minjun stares at her for a moment. "You're different," she finally says, stirring her cereal. "Different how?" Tiana asks, voice neutral. "You don't do the fake smile thing. Like you're pretending to care but you really want to be somewhere else." Minjun demonstrates, putting on an exaggerated, saccharine grin. "It's nice. The not fake part, I mean." Something flashes across Tiana's face. Something real and raw. She covers it quickly, but it was there. "Eat your breakfast," is all she says before walking away. But Minjun's words follow her. The not fake part. As if Tiana has spent so long pretending that being genuine feels like a dangerous slip. Across town, Suk-jin sits in his car, stuck in Seoul's morning traffic. His phone rings, a secure line. "Yes," he answers. "Sir, about Ellis," says his head of security. Something's odd. Suk-jin stares out at the gridlocked cars. "Explain." Her military record exists, but there are inconsistencies. Service dates don't quite match her visa history. And when I called her references. What? They had answers too ready. Like reading from a script. And there's a 6-year gap we can't account for. Fingerprints? Suk-jin asks, suddenly alert. That's the strange part. The system flags them, but we can't tell what's wrong. It's like they've been processed somehow. Suk-jin's fingers find the jade worry stone in his pocket. Tap, tap, tap. Roll. Keep digging. Quietly. And double the surveillance on her. He hangs up. Traffic inches forward. 6 years unaccounted for. Fingerprints that trigger system flags but reveal nothing. Professional. Expensive. Government-level work. Either Tiana Ellis is running from something very powerful, or she works for them. Neither option sits well. Back at the estate, evening falls. Minjun lingers in the kitchen while Tiana cleans up after dinner. You promised, Minjun says quietly, looking at her scraped knee. About helping me get stronger. Tiana glances at the nearest security camera. Knows Suk-jin might be watching. Doesn't care. Follow me, she says. She leads Minjun through the east wing of the house, to a room that hasn't been used in years. A small dojang, training room, with padded floors and mirrored walls. It smells of dust and disuse. Take off your shoes, Tiana says, flicking on the lights. Minjun obeys, excitement making her clumsy. Are you gonna teach me to punch Jinho in the face? No, Tiana says flatly. I'm going to teach you something more useful. She walks to the center of the room, gestures for Minjun to join her. First lesson, she says. How to fall without getting hurt. Minjun's face falls. That's boring. It's essential, Tiana corrects. And it's the difference between a scraped knee and a broken arm. Watch. She demonstrates, dropping into a controlled fall, rolling smoothly back to her feet in one fluid motion. No wasted energy. No impact. Now you try. Minjun attempts to copy her. Falls awkwardly. Winces. Again, Tiana says. Minjun tries. Falls. Almost cries. Again. By the 10th attempt, Minjun's frustrated tears are flowing freely. I can't do it. Tiana kneels to her level. Doesn't offer comfort. Just looks her directly in the eye. Yes, you can. And you will. Because the next time someone pushes you, you'll know how to fall. And they won't get to see you hurt. I don't want to fall at all, Minjun sniffles. Everyone falls, Tiana says, the words coming out harder than she intended. What matters is getting back up before they expect you to. Something in her tone makes Minjun wipe her tears and stand up straight. Show me again, she says. An hour later, Minjun can fall without hurting herself. Not perfectly. But better. Enough that when Tiana finally says, that's enough for tonight, there's real pride in her voice. Same time tomorrow? Minjun asks, putting her shoes back on. Tiana nods. Same time. Minjun hesitates at the door. Then suddenly rushes forward, throwing her arms around Tiana's waist in a quick, fierce hug before running off down the hallway. Tiana stands frozen, arms slightly raised, as if she's forgotten what to do with a child's embrace. She stares at the empty doorway for a long moment, then slowly turns off the lights and follows. She doesn't notice the security camera in the corner, its small red light blinking steadily. In his car, heading home, Sukjin's phone pings with a notification. The motion sensors in the dojang have been activated. He pulls up the security feed. His daughter and the maid. Training. He watches Tiana demonstrate the fall. Watches Minjun try, fail, cry, try again. Watches her finally succeed. Watches the awkward hug that Tiana clearly doesn't know how to receive. His finger hovers over the call button to his security team. He should put a stop to this. Unknown woman. Questionable background. Teaching his daughter, what, exactly? But then he sees Minjun's face as she leaves the training room. She's smiling. Really smiling. For the first time in months. His finger moves away from the call button. Instead, he types a message to his driver. Take the long way home tonight. Just as he puts his phone down, it rings again. His security chief. Sir, we found something. The fingerprint anomaly, it's a specific type of alteration. Used by a program called Nightingale. What's Nightingale? Sukjin asks. That's just it, sir. We don't know. When we searched for it, our system was probed by someone else. Someone good. They're watching for anyone looking into this. Sukjin's grip tightens on his phone. Get me whatever you can. And tell no one. He ends the call, staring out the window as Seoul's lights blur past. He's let something dangerous into his home. Something that's now teaching his daughter. And the strangest part? For the first time in years, he's not sure if he wants to stop it. 3 weeks pass. Tiana and Minjun train every night after dinner. Same time. Same place. Always behind the closed door of the dojang. Friday night. 11:35 p.m. Sukjin's car pulls up to the estate. The meeting with the Busan suppliers ran long. Threats were made. Compromises reached. The kind of negotiation that leaves knuckles bruised and voices hoarse. He loosens his tie as he walks into his office. Pours 2 fingers of whiskey. The house is silent except for the hum of the security system. He sits in his leather chair, swirls the amber liquid, doesn't drink it. Out of habit, he pulls up the security feeds on his tablet. Cycles through them one by one. Kitchen, empty. Garden, empty. Minjun's room, she's asleep, curled around her stuffed rabbit. Main hallway, the night guard makes his rounds. Dojang, occupied. Sukjin sits forward, whiskey forgotten. The lights are on. Tiana and Minjun. Both in workout clothes. This is different from their other sessions. Minjun isn't falling anymore. She's standing, feet planted, hands up in a defensive position. Tiana circles her slowly. Speaks words the camera doesn't catch. Then suddenly reaches for Minjun's wrist. Instead of flinching or pulling away, Minjun moves with the grab. Turns her body, shifts her weight, and suddenly Tiana is the one off balance. Not much, just enough that a real attacker would stumble. Sukjin's finger taps the volume icon. The sound comes through tinny but clear. Good, Tiana says. Now try it faster. They repeat the move. Again. Again. Each time Minjun gets smoother, more confident. Remember, Tiana says, you're smaller. That's an advantage. Lower center of gravity. They'll underestimate you. Use that. But Jinho is way bigger than me, Minjun says, breathing hard. Size doesn't matter if you use their momentum against them. Tiana demonstrates, letting Minjun grab her arm, then flowing with the movement, turning it back on her. Don't fight their strength. Redirect it. Sukjin's hand tightens around his glass. He rewinds the footage. Watches again. Slows it down. Every step Tiana takes has purpose. No wasted energy. No flourishes. He zooms in on her face. The blank expression she wears around the house is gone. Here, in this room, with his daughter, she's fully present. Focused. Alert. Her stance, the way she moves, this isn't something you learn pushing papers at a desk. He picks up his phone. Hovers over his head of security's contact. One call, and Tiana Ellis disappears from their lives. But he hesitates. Because in the 3 weeks since the training began, Minjun has changed. She walks taller. Eats better. Talks more at dinner. Yesterday, she even stood up to one of his lieutenant's sons when he tried to take her place in line at a family gathering. The boy was a head taller than Minjun. Everyone expected her to give in, like always. But she didn't. She simply stood her ground, said no, and didn't budge. The boy backed down, confused by this new version of the girl he'd always pushed around. Sukjin puts the phone down. Takes a sip of whiskey. Watches the feed a while longer. Enough for tonight, Tiana finally says. You're getting better. Minjun beams at the rare praise. Can we try the wrist thing tomorrow? One skill at a time, Tiana says. Master this first. Jinho's birthday party is next week, Minjun says, suddenly serious. He always picks on me worse when all his friends are there. Something flickers across Tiana's face. If he puts his hands on you, what do you do? Redirect, don't fight, Minjun recites. And? Keep my feet under me, use his push, make it look like an accident. Good. Tiana nods. Because the best defense is when they don't even know you did something, Minjun finishes, stumbling slightly over the words like she's repeating something she's still learning. Sukjin closes the feed. Drains his whiskey. His daughter is learning to fight, but more than that, she's learning to deceive. To make calculated moves look like accidents. The next morning, Minjun practically bounces into the dining room for breakfast. She's wearing the jade bracelet, the one Sukjin finally gave her last week. Her hair is neatly braided, not the usual tangled mess. Morning, Dad, she says, sliding into her chair. Good morning. He studies her over the rim of his coffee cup. You're energetic today. I slept good. She pours herself cereal, adds milk without spilling a drop. I noticed you've been spending time in the dojang. Minjun's spoon pauses halfway to her mouth. Her eyes dart up, then back to her bowl. Just a little. With Tiana. She nods, not meeting his gaze. What are you learning? Minjun relaxes slightly, realizing she's not in trouble. How to fall without getting hurt. And how to stop people from grabbing me. Is someone grabbing you? Suk-jin asks, voice carefully neutral. Jin-ho pushes me sometimes. And grabs my backpack. She takes a bite of cereal, chews slowly. But Tiana says I shouldn't hurt him. Just make him stop. Make him stop, Suk-jin repeats. Minjun nods, spilling a bit of milk on her chin. She says the best way to win is to not even fight. Like, just make them mess up. She wipes her mouth with her sleeve. It's super cool, Dad. Something about those words rings familiar to Suk-jin. He's heard them before, in another context. Dad? Minjun interrupts his thoughts. Are you mad that Tiana's teaching me? He looks at his daughter. Really looks at her. The way she sits straighter. The steady gaze that doesn't drop away like it used to. No, he says finally. I'm not mad. Just curious. Minjun grins, relief washing over her face. She's really good. Like, really, really good. I bet she could even beat Mr. Park. Mr. Park, Suk-jin's head of security. A former Special Forces operator with 2 decades of combat experience. I doubt that, Suk-jin says mildly. Minjun shrugs. Maybe. But she's super fast. And she says size doesn't matter if you know where to. She stops, suddenly looking unsure if she should continue. Suk-jin finishes his coffee, mind racing. Later that day, he finds Tiana folding laundry in the service hallway. He approaches casually, leans against the doorframe, blocking the exit without making it obvious. My daughter seems happier lately, he says. Tiana continues folding a towel, doesn't look up. She's a good kid. She says you're teaching her self-defense. Basic skills. Mostly how to fall safely. Where did you learn these skills? Your file mentions military administration. Desk work. Her hands never falter on the towel she's folding. Not even a hitch in rhythm. Basic training includes self-defense. I thought it might help her confidence. Administration, he repeats. Yes, sir. Still folding. Still calm. Too calm. You know, he says conversationally, most people, when their employer questions them, show signs of stress. Increased heart rate. Perspiration. Nervous gestures. He steps closer. You don't. Now she does look up. Meets his gaze directly. Should I be stressed, Mr. O? That depends on whether you're lying to me. The moment stretches between them, taut as piano wire. Then Tiana does something unexpected. She smiles. Just slightly. The first real expression he's seen on her face outside the dojang. Everyone lies, Mr. O. Even 9-year-olds who say they're fine when they're not. The question is whether the lie hurts or helps. She picks up the folded laundry and steps around him, somehow slipping through the narrow space without brushing against him at all. A practiced move. Am I teaching your daughter to defend herself? She asks, pausing in the hallway. Does that help or hurt? Before he can answer, she's gone, footsteps silent on the tiled floor. That night, Suk-jin sits at his desk, the conversation replaying in his head. He opens his computer, pulls up a search bar. Starts to type a request for a deep background check on Tiana Ellis. His finger hovers over the enter key. In his mind, he sees Min-jun's face at breakfast. Hears her voice. He deletes the search. Opens his private safe instead. Inside is a form few people know exists, a request for information that bypasses normal channels, goes straight to his most trusted contact in Korean intelligence. He fills it out. Writes Tiana's name at the top. Stares at it for a long moment. Then crumples it up. Drops it in his ashtray. Strikes a match. Watches it burn, his face lit by the small flame. No, he says quietly. I'll find out myself. Because Suk-jin didn't build his empire by delegating the most important tasks. Meanwhile, in her small room, Tiana kneels by her bed, counting the baseboards from the corner. 6, 7, 8. She pries one loose, reaches into the wall cavity. Pulls out a small metal case. Inside, a compact pistol, a passport in another name, and a thumb drive. She touches the gun briefly, then returns everything to the wall. She doesn't need to run yet. But she's always ready. A dingy diner in Washington, D.C., 8 months ago. Rain streaks the windows, turning the neon signs outside into blurry smears of color. The vinyl booth squeaks as Tiana shifts her weight. Across from her sits a man in his 60s, thinning gray hair, nervous eyes that never stop moving. No greeting. No small talk. He slides a manila folder across the sticky table. This is all I could get, he says, voice barely above a whisper. Took some serious favors. Tiana opens the folder. Photos. Documents. A name highlighted in yellow, Oh Suk-jin, Golden Carp Syndicate. Below it, another document with classified, stamped in red, Project Nightingale, Purge Authorization, Contractor, Golden Carp Solutions LLC. Her hand trembles. Once. She steadies it against the table. You sure about this? The man asks. Once you go in, I can't help you. He killed them, Tiana says, voice flat but eyes burning. Every single one. He didn't pull the trigger. He took the contract. Same thing. She closes the folder, slides it into her bag. I'll contact you when it's done. Tiana. The man's hand shoots out, grabs her wrist. She looks at it. He lets go immediately. Think about what you're risking. 6 years off the grid, and now this? She stands, throws down enough money to cover both their coffees. I'm not walking in, she says. I'm already inside. Back in the present. Tuesday morning, week 5 of Tiana's employment at the O estate. Her day off. She leaves the house at 9 a.m., dressed in jeans and a plain jacket, hair tucked under a baseball cap. Nothing memorable. What she doesn't see, the black sedan pulling out 2 minutes later, 2 of Suk-jin's men inside, following at a careful distance. Tiana takes the subway downtown, switches lines twice. Browses a street market in Insadong. Buys a small beaded bracelet from a vendor. Stops at a small temple tucked between high-rises. Lights incense. Sits for almost an hour, eyes closed, seemingly meditating. Inside the car parked across the street, the men watch through binoculars. Nothing suspicious, one says into his phone. No contacts. No drops. No calls. On the other end of the line, Suk-jin frowns. Stay with her. What the men don't see, in the crowded temple, surrounded by tourists taking photos, Tiana slips a tiny SIM card from inside the sole of her shoe. Swaps it into her phone. Types a brief message, sends it, deletes it. Swaps SIMs back. Crushes the used one under her heel in the sand of the incense bowl. Her face never changes expression. Not once. At home, she finds Min-jun in the garden, practicing the stance Tiana taught her yesterday. Got you something, Tiana says, holding out the bracelet. Minjun's whole face lights up. Not because of the cheap trinket, because someone thought of her. She throws her arms around Tiana. Thank you. It's so pretty. For half a second, Tiana freezes. Then her hand comes up, awkwardly pats Minjun's back. From the second-floor window, Sukjin watches. His jaw tightens. Later that night, the house is quiet. Tiana lies on her narrow bed, staring at the ceiling. She can't sleep. Hasn't really slept in years. A memory surfaces. A girl about her age, laughing during training. Sharing a chocolate bar they'd smuggled in. Whispering dreams in the dark after lights out. Then sounds she still can't forget. The smell of smoke. Bodies. Blood on concrete. Tiana's hand curls into a fist. She doesn't cry. But her eyes are wide open, seeing ghosts that aren't there. Across town, in a nondescript office building, Sukjin sits across from his head of security. The man slides a report across the desk. She didn't meet anyone today, he says. Didn't make any calls we could detect. Sukjin's finger taps the report. The temple? 40 minutes. Just sitting there. Sukjin is quiet for a moment. And the background check? His security chief looks uncomfortable. It's strange, sir. Her military service exists on paper, but when we cross-referenced with other records. He hesitates. There are inconsistencies. And a 6-year gap. Meaning? Meaning someone with resources built her a cover. Government-level resources. Sukjin absorbs this, face impassive. But inside, a battle rages. The businessman in him says eliminate the threat immediately. The father sees his daughter's transformation. Confidence growing. Smile returning. For the first time since her mother died, Minjun seems whole. Sir, the security chief prompts. Your orders? The Busan deal closes this week, Sukjin says, seemingly changing the subject. If it falls through, we lose 30% of our distribution network. I understand, but about Ellis. Monitor her. Nothing more. Sukjin stands. The Incheon branch needs my attention right now. I can't afford distractions. It's not the whole truth. But it buys him time to understand what's happening in his own home. Back at the estate, Tiana knows something has shifted. Small changes. The staff's eyes linger a second longer than normal. The night guard passes her door more frequently. Conversations stop when she enters rooms. She expected this. Counted on it, even. Let them watch. That afternoon, Minjun returns from school, practically vibrating with excitement. She finds Tiana in the laundry room. Guess what? She bubbles. Jinho tried to trip me during gym class, but I did that fall you showed me, and I didn't even get hurt, and he looked super confused, and I got right back up, and he didn't know what to do. Tiana's lips curve in a small, genuine smile. Good. Can we do more training tonight? Please. I want to learn more cool stuff for when his birthday party happens next week. Tiana glances at the nearest security camera, then back to Minjun, tonight at the usual time. Now go do your homework. Minjun scampers off, the beaded bracelet bouncing on her wrist. Tiana stares after her, something unexpected tugging at her chest. The girl wasn't supposed to matter. No one was supposed to matter. Just the mission. In his office, Sukjin watches the exchange on his monitor. Sees the look on Tiana's face as Minjun leaves. His wife had that same expression whenever Minjun mastered something new. Pride. Affection. Real emotions are hard to fake. Even for professionals. That night, 7:30 p.m. Tiana and Minjun are in the dojang. Tonight's lesson, how to break free if someone grabs your wrist. Remember, Tiana says, demonstrating, it's not about strength. It's about leverage and surprise. Minjun practices, her small face scrunched in concentration. She's getting better. Faster. More confident. The door opens. Sukjin stands there. Minjun freezes mid-movement. Dad. Are you mad? Tiana doesn't freeze. Just slowly straightens, hands relaxed at her sides. Sukjin's eyes flick between them. No, he says finally. I'm not mad. I want to watch. He steps into the dojang, closes the door behind him. Leans against the wall, arms crossed. Pretend I'm not here, he says. Minjun looks nervously at Tiana, who gives a small nod. They resume the lesson. Tiana demonstrates the wrist escape again. Minjun copies her. Again. Again. Sukjin watches silently. Not just Minjun, Tiana. The way she moves. The way she teaches. Patient but firm. No coddling. No false praise. Real instruction. After 30 minutes, Tiana says, that's enough for today. Minjun looks disappointed but doesn't argue. She bows to Tiana, then runs to Sukjin, hugs his legs. Did you see, Dad? I can get away if someone grabs me now. He puts a hand on her head. I saw. You did well. Minjun beams at the rare praise. Tiana says I'm a fast learner. She's right. He smooths her hair. Go get ready for bed. I'll be up to say goodnight. Minjun scurries out, leaving Sukjin and Tiana alone in the dojang. The silence stretches between them. These aren't basic self-defense techniques, Sukjin finally says. Tiana meets his gaze. They're what works. Where did you learn them? Does it matter? They're helping your daughter. Sukjin steps closer. It matters if you're in my house under false pretenses. We all have secrets, Mr. O. No challenge in her voice. Just quiet certainty. Another step closer. I protect what's mine. Remember that. Something shifts in Tiana's eyes. Not fear. Something more complex. So do I. 4 words. Simple. But loaded with meaning neither fully understands yet. Sukjin doesn't respond. Just turns and walks out, leaving Tiana alone in the dojang. That night, Sukjin sits at his desk, the Busan contract open before him. 30% of his business hanging in the balance. He should be focused on this. Instead, he pulls up Minjun's school records on his tablet. Her grades, steadily declining since her mother's death 3 years ago, have begun to improve. Her teacher's notes mention increased confidence and better social interaction. Next to this, he opens a heavily redacted file his security team managed to obtain. Tiana Ellis. Or whatever her real name is. Military records with inconsistencies. 6 missing years. A ghost who somehow materialized in his house. Everything in his business experience tells him to eliminate the unknown variable. Cut the risk. But Minjun is smiling again. Standing taller. Fighting back, in her own small way. He closes both files. Picks up his phone. The surveillance in her quarters, he says. Proceed. 3 hours later, Tiana sits on her bed, a book open in her lap. She's not reading it. She's listening to the house. Soft footsteps in the hallway. The nearly imperceptible click of a door opening 2 rooms down. She doesn't move. Doesn't react. Just turns a page in her book. Let them search. Let them watch. The truth isn't in her room anyway. It's hidden in plain sight, in the lessons she teaches a little girl who reminds her too much of herself, before everything was taken away. Saturday afternoon. Minjun's 9th birthday. The garden of the O estate has been transformed. Lanterns strung between trees. Tables covered in crisp white cloths. A small stage for the traditional Panzori singer Minjun requested instead of a clown. Not too extravagant. Sukjin doesn't do extravagant. But elegant. Controlled. Perfect. Minjun wears a hanbok in pale pink silk, her hair pulled back in an intricate braid that took the stylist an hour to create. She looks like a doll, beautiful and slightly uncomfortable. The guests begin arriving at 2 p.m. Sukjin's top lieutenants and their families. Business partners deemed safe enough to know where he lives. A few of Minjun's carefully selected classmates, including Jin Ho, who stands too close to his father, eyes darting nervously around the garden. Tiana moves among them in her gray uniform, serving drinks, refilling platters. Playing her part perfectly. But her eyes never stop moving. Door. Gate. Every adult. Every exit. Minjun opens her gifts at the center table. A violin from Sukjin. Books. A gaming console. Expensive toys she'll probably never play with. She smiles politely at each one. Says all the right things. A perfect performance. Only Tiana notices the way Minjun's eyes keep drifting to the small wrapped package at the end of the table. The one with no name tag. The bracelet Tiana left in her room this morning. From across the garden, Sukjin watches his daughter. Sees her glance at Tiana, who gives the smallest nod of encouragement. A shift in the atmosphere pulls Sukjin's attention away. One of his lieutenants, Park, steps close, phone in hand. His face is too still, a mask of polite attention that doesn't reach his eyes. Park, the one who always touches the scar on his neck when he's nervous, a habit from his days as a Marine before a piece of shrapnel nearly took his head off. Sir, Park murmurs, we have a situation. Sukjin's expression doesn't change. He sips his champagne. Explain. The Busan shipment. It's been intercepted. By whom? Kim Dae-young's people. They're saying it's retaliation for territory in Incheon. Something cold slides down Sukjin's spine. Kim Dae-young. His oldest rival. The one person who knows where he lives. Secure the perimeter, Sukjin says quietly. Double the guards at the gate. Already done, sir. Park's fingers brush his neck scar. Should we end the party? Sukjin glances at Minjun, now unwrapping the bracelet, her face lighting up with genuine joy for the first time all day. No, he decides. But get the non-family guests out within the hour. Food poisoning concern. Something plausible. Park nods, moves away. Sukjin's hand drifts toward his jacket pocket, feeling the weight of the gun he always carries. Across the garden, Tiana has noticed the exchange. The subtle shift in the security team's posture. The way they've moved closer to the exits. Something's wrong. She casually repositions herself near Minjun, pouring juice for the children, maintaining her cover while scanning the grounds. Everything changes in an instant. A text message arrives on Park's phone. His face goes pale. He moves swiftly to Sukjin, whispers something urgent. Sukjin's expression doesn't change, but his hand moves to his jacket pocket. Tiana sets down her tray. Steps closer to Minjun, who's showing her new bracelet to a friend. The world explodes. The front gate blows inward with a deafening boom. Screams erupt from the guests. Black SUVs ram through the twisted metal, men in masks pouring out, weapons ready. Not police. Not a raid. Something worse. Sukjin's security team engages immediately, creating a defensive line. Guests scatter, running for the house, for cars, for anywhere but here. Minjun. Sukjin shouts, pushing through the chaos, gun drawn. But Minjun is frozen in the garden pavilion, too terrified to move. And there's a masked man breaking through the security line, heading straight for her. Tiana doesn't think. Doesn't hesitate. She sprints across the lawn, faster than anyone would expect from a house servant. Cuts between panicked guests like water between rocks. The attacker raises his weapon, not at Minjun, but at Sukjin, who's still 30 feet away. Minjun is just bait. The perfect distraction. Tiana reaches her first. Grabs the girl. Shields her with her body. Pulls her toward the house as a shot cracks the pavilion column behind them. The attacker adjusts his aim, tracking them. Tiana doesn't have a weapon. Doesn't have cover. Has nothing but instinct and training. She kicks a heavy metal garden chair into the man's path. He stumbles, curse muffled by his mask. It buys her precious seconds. She doesn't try to fight, not with Minjun to protect. She focuses on escape, shoving the girl through a side door of the house, diving in after her as another shot rings out. A searing pain across her shoulder tells her she wasn't quite fast enough. A graze. Not serious. Ignore it. Stay down, she orders Minjun, who's shaking violently, eyes wide with terror. Outside, the gunfire intensifies, then gradually tapers off. Sukjin's security team has gained the upper hand. Police sirens wail in the distance, getting closer. Minjun clings to Tiana's leg, sobbing. Are they going to kill us? No, Tiana says, voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her. Your father won't let that happen. And neither will I. She checks the wound on her shoulder. The bullet grazed her, tearing the uniform, leaving a shallow furrow in her flesh. Blood seeps through the fabric, but the bleeding is already slowing. Minjun sees the blood and her sobs intensify. You're hurt. You're hurt because of me. I'm fine. Tiana kneels, looks Minjun directly in the eyes. Listen to me. This isn't your fault. None of this is your fault. Understand? The little girl nods, still trembling. Good. Now, we're going to sit right here until your father comes for us. Okay? Another nod. Tiana positions herself between Minjun and the door, back against the wall, giving herself the best possible view of potential entry points. The wound on her shoulder throbs, but she pushes the pain aside, focusing entirely on their safety. 3 minutes after the first explosion, silence falls over the estate. Heavy footsteps approach from the main hall. Tiana tenses, ready to fight even without a weapon. The door bursts open. Sukjin stands there, gun still in hand, eyes wild with fear that instantly transforms to relief when he sees Minjun. Daddy. Minjun sobs, running to him. He drops to one knee, gathering her against him with his free arm, burying his face in her hair for the briefest moment. Then he looks up, over his daughter's head, eyes locking with Tiana's. No words pass between them. But he sees everything, the torn uniform, the bleeding shoulder, the way she positioned herself between the door and his daughter. Ready to take a bullet if necessary. And she sees, the gun in his hand, the cold calculation, and something else. Something that might be gratitude. 20 minutes later, the estate crawls with security. The attackers, those who survived, have been taken away. Police have been diverted with a substantial bribe and a cover story about a private security drill gone wrong. Minjun has been moved to her room, a doctor checking her for injuries, a security guard posted at her door. In the living room, a medic patches up Tiana's shoulder. She sits perfectly still, barely flinching as the man cleans the wound and applies butterfly bandages. Across the room, Suk-jin stands with his head of security, voice low, phone pressed to his ear. His eyes never leave Tiana. When the medic finishes and steps away, Park approaches him, touching the scar on his neck. "Want me to detain her for questioning?" he asks quietly. No maid moves like that. Suk-jin watches Tiana flex her injured shoulder, testing its mobility with practiced precision. "No," he says finally. "Add her to the protected personnel list. Level 2 clearance." He pauses. "And find out which of Kim's men specifically targeted my daughter." Park's eyebrows rise slightly. Level 2 clearance is reserved for Suk-jin's inner circle. "Yes, sir." As Suk-jin turns away, his phone buzzes with an alert from his head of security. A message about Tiana Ellis that's been waiting for 2 days, delayed by the preparations for Minjun's party. The message contains one word, highlighted in red, Nightingale. If this tension has you on the edge of your seat, hit that subscribe button now and drop a comment letting me know whose side you're on. The story only gets more intense from here. 2 days after the attack. The estate is quiet, but a different kind of quiet. Not the hushed silence of wealth and order, but the tense stillness of a fortress on alert. Security guards patrol the perimeter in pairs now. New cameras monitor blind spots. The ornamental garden gate has been replaced with reinforced steel disguised as wrought iron. Beautiful, but bulletproof. Tiana's shoulder throbs as she changes the bandage in her small bathroom. The medic said it would heal clean, no permanent damage. But pain has its uses. Keeps you sharp. Keeps you present. She examines the wound in the mirror. A clean furrow across the outer edge of her shoulder. Another scar to add to her collection. She covers it with a fresh bandage, rolls her shoulder to test the mobility. Good enough. Her phone buzzes. A text from the house manager. "Mr. O requests your presence in his office." Immediately. Tiana takes a deep breath. Straightens her uniform collar. Walks upstairs with measured steps that betray nothing of the pain each movement causes. Suk-jin's office is all glass and steel and shadow. He stands at the window, back to her, looking out over the garden where, 48 hours ago, men came to kill him. "Sit," he says without turning. Tiana stays standing. "I'm fine, sir." Now he turns. His eyes are dark, unreadable. It wasn't a request. A beat. Then she sits in the chair across from his desk. He sits too. Pours 2 glasses of water, not alcohol. Slides one to her. She doesn't touch it. "You didn't run," he says finally. "I was hired to take care of your home." Her voice is steady. "My home. Not my daughter." The silence stretches between them. "She was scared," Tiana says simply. Suk-jin leans back, studies her like she's a puzzle he can't solve. "The men who attacked us," he says. "They weren't random criminals. They were trained. Military background." Tiana says nothing. Waiting. "Like you," he adds. She doesn't deny it. Doesn't confirm it either. "Who are you really?" Suk-jin asks. "And don't tell me military administration. We both know that's not true." Tiana meets his gaze directly. "Does it matter?" "I kept Minjun safe." "It matters," he says, voice hardening, "because you're in my house under false pretenses. It matters because you've been teaching my daughter for weeks. It matters because I need to know if you're a threat." "If I were a threat," Tiana says quietly, "I wouldn't have taken a bullet for your daughter." Suk-jin almost smiles. It's unsettling on his usually cold face. "You know what I think," he says, leaning forward. "I think you came here for a reason." I think you've been watching me. Studying me. And I think it has something to do with Nightingale. The name drops between them like a stone. Tiana's expression doesn't change, but something flickers in her eyes. Recognition. Pain. I don't know what you're talking about, she says. Really? Sukjin takes out his phone, slides it across the desk. On the screen is a partially redacted document with Nightingale visible in the header. Because my security team found this when they looked into your background. Tiana doesn't touch the phone. Doesn't look at it. I could have you disappeared by morning, Sukjin says, voice eerily calm. No trace. No questions. You could, she agrees, meeting his gaze directly. Sukjin leans back. But I won't. Now she does look surprised, just for a moment. Because my daughter trusts you. He pauses. And right now, I trust her instincts more than I trust my own. Tiana says nothing. But she's listening. So here's what's going to happen, Sukjin continues. You're going to continue teaching Minjun. You're going to continue living in this house. And you're going to be watched, every moment of every day. And if I refuse? You won't. You seem very sure of that. Because you care about Minjun. It's not a question. I've seen how you look at her. How you protect her. That's not pretend. Tiana's jaw tightens almost imperceptibly. Whatever game you're playing, Sukjin says, whatever your real reason for being here, Minjun is off limits. Understand? I would never hurt her, Tiana says, voice flat. Good. Sukjin stands, indicating the conversation is over. Then we understand each other. Tiana rises. Turns to leave. Pauses at the door. The men who attacked, she says without turning around. They weren't after you. Sukjin goes still. What? They went straight for Minjun, didn't even try for your office. Someone wanted her. Not you. Sukjin circles his desk quickly, moving to block her path. His voice drops low. How do you know that? Tiana's eyes flick to the door, calculating distance. Because I was watching. When the gate blew, most of your security ran to you. Standard protocol. But two of the attackers bypassed them completely. They had a different target. Minjun, Sukjin says. Tiana nods once. They knew exactly where she would be. The pavilion was visible from the road, but she was only there for 5 minutes before the attack. Someone told them. Sukjin's face hardens. You're saying I have a traitor. I'm saying your daughter was the primary target. You were secondary. She steps around him and walks out, closes the door softly behind her. Sukjin stands alone in his office. His hand shakes as he reaches for his phone. Later that evening, Minjun sits on her bed, knees pulled tight to her chest, staring at the wall. Her sketchbook lies open beside her, but the page is blank. Her stuffed rabbit is clutched against her chest, something she'd stopped doing months ago, claiming she was too old for baby stuff. She flinches when Tiana enters with fresh towels. It's just me, Tiana says softly. Minjun relaxes slightly, but her knuckles remain white around the rabbit. Are the bad men coming back? Your father's security won't let that happen. Minjun's lower lip trembles. I had a dream they got inside. They were in my closet. Tiana sets the towels down, checks the closet door. Opens it to show Minjun the empty space inside. No one there. I heard Dad talking to Mr. Park, Minjun says, voice small. He said you saved me. That the men were trying to take me. Tiana sits on the edge of the bed. Careful. Distant. Yes. Why me? Why not Dad? Sometimes people think hurting children is the best way to hurt adults. Min-jun nods, surprisingly perceptive for her age. That's why you've been teaching me, isn't it? Because you knew. Tiana keeps her expression neutral. I wanted you to be prepared. Just in case. Are we still going to train? Min-jun's voice catches. I'm scared to go back to that room. What if they come while we're there? We don't have to go back there if you don't want to. But I need to learn, Min-jun insists, fear battling determination in her voice. I don't want to be scared forever. Something shifts in Tiana's eyes. Not softness, exactly. Recognition. We'll find another place, she says. Somewhere safer. Min-jun relaxes slightly. Will you teach me how you kicked that chair? It was so cool. Despite herself, Tiana's lips curve into a small smile. One skill at a time. After Min-jun finally falls asleep, Tiana finds herself in the garden. The damage from the attack has been mostly repaired, but she can still see the scorch mark on the wall where the gate exploded. The broken fountain that hasn't been replaced yet. She sits on a stone bench, looking up at the stars. For just a moment, she allows herself to remember other nights, other stars. Then locks the memories away again. You shouldn't be out here alone, a voice says behind her. Tiana doesn't turn. I'm not. There are 2 guards by the new gate, one on the roof, and you. Suk-jin moves into her peripheral vision, hands in his pockets. You notice everything, don't you? She doesn't answer. He sits on the bench beside her, leaving a careful distance between them. I checked what you said about the attackers, he says. You were right. They were targeting Min-jun specifically. I know. What you don't know, he continues, is why. Now she does look at him. Tell me. Kim Dae-young and I have been rivals for 15 years. Business rivals, mostly. Occasional violence, but nothing personal. He pauses. Until 3 years ago, when his son died in a car accident. He blamed me. Said I had arranged it. Did you? No. But it didn't matter. He lost his only child. And now he wants me to feel the same pain. Suk-jin's voice is flat, emotionless. Eye for an eye. That's why you hired more security. Why Min-jun rarely leaves the estate. Yes. Tiana absorbs this, thinking. You should have told me. Suk-jin raises an eyebrow. I didn't know you then. I still don't know you now. You know what matters, Tiana says. I protect Min-jun. A long silence stretches between them, filled only by the distant sound of crickets. Nightingale, Suk-jin finally says. What is it? Tiana's body tenses. Just slightly. If he weren't watching closely, he'd miss it. If you want me to protect your daughter, she says carefully, don't ask me questions I can't answer. Can't? Or won't? She stands, ready to leave. Check your security team. Someone knew exactly when Min-jun would be in the pavilion. Someone who had access to the party schedule. She walks away, leaving Suk-jin alone on the bench. In her room, Tiana sits on the edge of her bed. The conversation replays in her mind. The way Suk-jin said Nightingale. The document on his phone. He knows something, but not everything. Not the parts that would make him want to kill her on the spot. She reaches under her mattress, pulls out the small beaded bracelet she bought at the market, identical to the one she gave Min-jun. She turns it over in her hands, feeling the hidden seam where the recording device is embedded. She should activate it. Should use what she's learned about Suk-jin's operation. It would be so easy. But when she thinks about pressing the hidden switch, all she can see is Min-jun's face. Tiana puts the bracelet back under the mattress, decision unmade. 1 a.m. Wednesday night. Suk-jin can't sleep. Hasn't slept properly since the attack. His office is dark except for the blue glow of his computer screen. Outside, rain taps against the windows, a steady rhythm matching the pounding in his head. 3 tumblers of whiskey sit on his desk. 2 empty. 1 full. On his screen, security footage of Tiana. Every recorded moment since she entered his home. He watches her movements frame by frame. The way she always checks exits first. The slight adjustment she makes when entering a room, shifting her weight to the balls of her feet. The microglance she gives every camera, not avoiding them, acknowledging them. The way she places herself between Min-jun and potential threats, even during routine activities. His phone rings. Park. Tell me, Suk-jin answers. We found something, sir. About Nightingale. Suk-jin sits straighter. Go on. It wasn't easy. 3 government databases flagged our search. Someone's watching for inquiries. Park's voice lowers. But we got a partial file from an old military contact. Send it. Now. Minutes later, an encrypted file appears in Suk-jin's secure email. He opens it, scans the contents quickly, then more slowly as the implications sink in. Project Nightingale. A classified program initiated in 1998. Juvenile subjects. Social engineering training. Psychological conditioning. Combat skills. Infiltration techniques. Children, turned into weapons. And a termination order dated 6 years ago. Project discontinued. All assets to be neutralized. But the document that makes his blood run cold, purge contractor, Golden Carp Solutions LLC. Payment, $1.2 million USD. Golden Carp Solutions. One of his shell companies. A legitimate security firm on paper, used for deniable operations that never trace back to the main syndicate. He funded the operation that killed her people. His eyes close briefly. The weight of understanding settles over him like concrete. She's not here by accident. She's here for revenge. Suk-jin reopens the footage of Tiana with Min-jun, watches her teach his daughter the same techniques she must have learned in that program. Watches the careful distance she maintains, even as Min-jun grows more attached to her. He picks up his phone again. Park. I want everything on Golden Carp's involvement with Nightingale. Who authorized it, what exactly we did, all of it. Sir, that was 6 years ago. Different management team. I don't care. Find it. Yes, sir. And Ellis? Suk-jin stares at her image on the screen. Leave her to me. 10 p.m., Friday night. Tiana's in the garden, alone, staring up at the stars. The night is clear after 2 days of rain. The air smells of wet earth and the jasmine that climbs the garden wall. She knows Suk-jin is watching. Can feel it. The weight of his attention through the security cameras. The subtle increase in guard rotations past her usual haunts. The way the house staff no longer meet her eyes. Something has changed. She needs to move soon, or not at all. I know what Nightingale is, Suk-jin's voice comes from behind her. Tiana doesn't turn around. Doesn't react. But her muscles tense imperceptibly. Children, he continues, stepping into view. Taken. Trained. Weaponized. Still, she says nothing. And 6 years ago, they were eliminated. He moves to stand beside her, not looking at her but at the sky. All except one. You don't know what you're talking about, Tiana says finally, voice flat. Subject 19, he says. That was you, wasn't it? Now she does look at him. Her eyes are cold, focused. I know my company was involved, Suk-jin says quietly. Golden Carp Solutions. We provided security for the purge operation. Security, Tiana repeats, a bitter edge to her voice. Is that what you call it when you burn 26 people alive? When you gun down children trying to escape? She stops herself, jaw tight. I didn't know, Suk-jin says. It was a contract job through a shell company. I never saw the details. Would it have mattered if you had? He doesn't answer. They both know the truth. Did you come here to kill me? He asks finally. Tiana looks away. If I wanted you dead, you would be. Then why? Why my daughter? Why the training? For a long moment, she says nothing. When she speaks, her voice is different. Rawer. I was 14, she says. They told us we were being trained to help people. To save lives. She swallows. Then one night, men came. Your men. They locked the doors. Set the fires. Waited outside to shoot anyone who made it out. Suk-jin's face is stone. I didn't know. You took the money, she cuts him off. You cashed the check. The silence between them is thick with ghosts. So why not kill me? Suk-jin asks. Why go through all this? Tiana finally turns to face him fully. Because I wanted to understand what kind of man profits from murdering children. She pauses. And then I met Min-jun. Understanding dawns on Suk-jin's face. You saw yourself in her. I saw a child who needed someone to teach her how to survive, Tiana says simply. Before Suk-jin can respond, his phone buzzes in his pocket. Text from his head of security. Unidentified surveillance van. 2 blocks south. American plates. Both of them go rigid. They found me, Tiana breathes. Suk-jin's eyes narrow. Who? The man who created Nightingale. Suk-jin checks his security feed on his phone. The van is black, unmarked. Windows tinted. 2 men inside, equipment visible. Your government, he asks. Not officially. Her eyes find his. But they'll kill anyone who knows. Including Min-jun. The name acts like a trigger. Both of them are moving immediately, heading for the house. Where is she? Tiana asks, all pretense of the deferential Maid gone. Her room. 3rd floor, east wing. Suk-jin pulls out his phone again, barks orders to his security team. Full lockdown. Unknown hostiles approaching. Priority Alpha on Min-jun. They enter the house through the garden door, moving swiftly through the kitchen. They won't come tonight, Tiana says as they climb the stairs. They're just confirming my location first. How many? Small team. Elite. My security can handle them. Tiana doesn't bother responding to that. They reach Min-jun's room. The guard outside nods to Suk-jin, steps aside. Min-jun is asleep, clutching her stuffed rabbit, the beaded bracelet from Tiana still on her wrist. Suk-jin turns to Tiana. You have until morning to tell me what we're dealing with. What we're dealing with is me getting Min-jun out of here, Tiana says. Somewhere they can't find her. No one takes my daughter anywhere. His voice is ice. Then she's in danger. Tiana steps closer, voice urgent but controlled. These aren't gangsters, Suk-jin. So tell me what they are. Min-jun stirs in her sleep, murmuring something. Both adults freeze, watching her. She settles again, peaceful, unaware of the danger closing in around her. We have tonight to prepare, Tiana says finally. Tomorrow they'll start surveillance. Day after, they'll move. How can you be sure? Because it's what I was trained to do. Her eyes meet his. It's what I would do. Back in Suk-jin's office, Tiana sits across from him, all pretense gone. Start from the beginning, he says. Everything. Tiana remains silent for a long moment. Then, reluctantly, Nightingale was designed to create deep cover operatives. Start with children. No attachments. Nothing to miss. Who ran it? Dr. James Harris. CIA? Sometimes. Sometimes private sector. He moved between worlds. A flicker of something crosses her face. He kept detailed records on all of us. Blood samples. Brain scans. Genetic profiles. Why? He wanted to understand what made the best infiltrators. The perfect liars. Her voice hardens. He'd isolate the ones who scored highest for days. No food. No water. Just tests. Over and over. And when the program was shut down? He's the one who ordered the purge. Said we were compromised assets. Her hands curl into fists in her lap. His exact words. Suk-jin's phone rings. Park again. Suk-jin answers, listens, his face growing still. Get me that name. Full background. He hangs up. What? Tiana asks. The paperwork for Golden Carp's contract was signed by someone named Harris. Dr. James Harris. Tiana goes completely still. He authorized the kill order on his own program? He built a backdoor, Tiana says, voice barely audible. A way to erase everything if he needed to. And now he's here. Looking for you. Looking to clean up what he started. Suk-jin stands, moves to the window, looks out at the dark street beyond the estate walls. Somewhere out there, men are watching. Planning. Coming for his daughter. He turns back to Tiana. I protect what's mine, he says quietly. Always. I know, Tiana replies. That's why I came here. To use that against you. She meets his gaze directly. But now I need it to protect Min-jun. Before Suk-jin can respond, his phone buzzes again. A security alert. The surveillance van is moving. Circling the block. They're mapping approach routes, Tiana says, standing. How long do we have? Not long. Suk-jin makes a decision. I'm getting Min-jun out tonight. Safe house in Incheon. They'll find you, Tiana warns. Not if we're careful. They have resources you can't imagine. Their eyes lock again, adversaries with a single common goal. Then what do you suggest? Suk-jin asks. We prepare. Here. Where we know the ground. Tiana's eyes gleam with cold calculation. And we make Harris regret ever sending his people after Min-jun. Suk-jin nods slowly. How? First, we need to know exactly what we're dealing with. Tiana moves to his computer. Show me everything your security team found on Nightingale. Suk-jin hesitates only a moment before entering his password, giving her access to information that could destroy him. Because right now, the woman who came to destroy him is the only one who can save his daughter. Friday night. 11:15 p.m. The O estate hums with quiet tension. Suk-jin stands in his office, the blueprint of his home spread across his desk. Security camera feeds flicker on the wall monitors. Outside, rain has started again, soft and steady against the windows. For entry points, he says, pointing. Front gate, service entrance, east garden wall, roof access. Tiana studies the blueprint, memorizing every hallway, every room, every potential choke point. They'll come from multiple directions. Simultaneous breach. I have 4 men on the perimeter. 2 at each entry point. For more inside. Not enough. Her finger traces a path on the paper. Harris doesn't send ordinary operators. They're specialists. Sukjin's jaw tightens. My men are professionals. So are his. But they've been trained specifically for this. Tiana looks up at him. How much do you trust your security team? With my life. What about with Nightingale information? If Harris got to any of them. Park vets everyone personally. Sukjin cuts her off, but doubt flickers in his eyes. Tiana holds his gaze. They don't just kill, they erase. No evidence. No witnesses. She taps the blueprint. They'll have studied this house. They'll know where your cameras are. Where your men are positioned. So what do? We change the battlefield. Tiana reaches for a pen, begins marking the blueprint. Move your men to unexpected positions. Create blind spots where there weren't any before. Set traps. And Minjun? The panic room. It's the safest place. Sukjin shakes his head. If they've studied the house, they'll know about it. Then we give them something else to focus on first. Across the room, Park enters, face grim. Sir, the surveillance van is gone. Tiana and Sukjin exchange glances. They've seen what they needed to see, she says. When? Sukjin asks. Tonight. Tiana straightens. They'll wait for full dark, when most of the house is asleep. Between 1 and 4 a.m. Sukjin turns to Park. Wake the men. Full tactical gear. Silent comms. He looks at Tiana. What do you need? Access to your weapons cache. And 30 minutes with Minjun. His eyes narrow. Why Minjun? Because she needs to understand exactly what to do when they come. 11:50 p.m. Minjun's room. The little girl sits on her bed in pajamas, eyes wide with fear but chin held high, trying to be brave. Tiana kneels before her, speaking in quiet, measured tones. Listen carefully, Tiana says. Some bad men might try to come into the house tonight. Like the ones at my party? Minjun whispers. Yes, but different. These ones will be quieter. Tiana takes Minjun's hands in hers. Your father and I are going to stop them. But I need you to be very brave and do exactly as I say. Minjun nods, her small hands cold in Tiana's. You're going to stay in the panic room. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone except your father or me. Not even if someone says we sent them. But what if something happens to you and Dad? Tiana's expression doesn't change, but something flickers in her eyes. Then you wait until morning. If we haven't come for you by then, there's a phone inside. Press the red button. It will call Mr. Park directly. Minjun's lower lip trembles. I'm scared. I know. Tiana's voice softens a fraction. But remember what I taught you. Fear keeps you alert. It doesn't control you. Could you? Minjun hesitates. Could you stay with me in the panic room? I need to help your father. Tiana stands. But I'll be back for you. I promise. Down in the basement, Sukjin waits outside the reinforced door of the panic room. His face is stone, but his knuckles are white around the gun at his side. She's ready, Tiana says as they guide Minjun inside. The room is small but secure. Steel walls. Independent ventilation. Food and water for a week. A small cot. Monitoring screens showing the house's security feeds. Minjun turns, hugs her father fiercely. Be careful, Dad. Sukjin kneels, holds her tight. I'll come for you as soon as it's safe. I promise. She nods against his chest, then pulls back. To both their surprise, she turns and throws her arms around Tiana as well. You too, she whispers. Be careful. Tiana's arms come up awkwardly, pat Minjun's back. Remember what I taught you. Minjun straightens, nods with a child's attempt at stoicism. Redirect. Don't resist. Good girl. They leave her there, seal the heavy door. Listen to the mechanical locks engage. Meet each other's eyes in the dim hallway. Now we prepare, Sukjin says. 12:30 a.m. The house is dark except for the dim emergency lights. Security feeds show only empty hallways, empty gardens, empty perimeters. Tiana moves through the shadows of the kitchen, setting up her first trap. Fishing lines stretched across doorways at ankle height. A rack of copper pots balanced precariously, not to injure, but to create noise, distraction. Upstairs, Sukjin repositions his men. 2 in the master bedroom, the obvious target, the room they'll expect him to defend. The rest scattered in unpredictable places. Closets. Unused guest rooms. The laundry. On the roof, Park checks his weapon, scans the street below. Nothing moves. The rain muffles sound, limits visibility. Perfect conditions for an infiltration. Tiana finishes in the kitchen, moves to the main hallway. Sets another trap. Then another. Small. Simple. Effective. She meets Sukjin at the foot of the stairs. Both armed now. Both prepared. Your men know not to shoot me, she asks quietly. Yes. A pause. Do I need to worry about you shooting me? A ghost of a smile crosses her face. Not tonight. Comforting. They separate. Tiana takes the east wing. Sukjin the west. The house settles into tense silence, waiting. 1:20 a.m. The attack comes like a whisper. No explosion this time. No frontal assault. Just the silent failure of 3 security cameras simultaneously. Then a 4th. They're in, Tiana breathes into her comm unit. One of Sukjin's men provided it, showed her the frequency. Where? Sukjin's voice comes back, tense. East perimeter. Garden access. Coming up through the wine cellar. How do you know? It's what makes sense. Minimal exposure. She moves silently through the second-floor hallway, keeping to the shadows. Her weapon is ready but not raised. No point telegraphing her position. The lights cut out. The house plunges into darkness. Backup generator kicks in seconds later, but the damage is done. Emergency lights cast everything in a bloody red glow. Security systems reboot, leaving a 3-second window of vulnerability. It's all they need. 4 operatives. American. Ex-military. Silent. Efficient. They move through the house, avoiding the obvious security positions, heading straight for predetermined targets. First target, Sukjin's office. Digital records. Files. Any evidence of Nightingale. Second target, the master bedroom. Sukjin himself. Third target, the east wing. Where Minjun's room is located. Fourth target, the basement. The panic room. They've studied the blueprints. They know where everything is. Everyone is. Except they're working with outdated information. The first operative hits Tiana's tripwire in the main hall. Copper pots crash to the floor, the sound explosive in the silence. He recovers instantly, drops to a defensive position. But the damage is done. Position compromised. Sukjin's men engage on the first floor. Gunfire erupts, suppressed but still audible. Sharp cracks in the night. Tiana moves toward the east wing, staying high, using the architectural details of the hallway for cover. She spots the second operative approaching Minjun's room. He's good. Very good. Checking corners, moving in controlled bursts, weapon ready. But he's expecting a child. Or an empty room. He's not expecting Tiana. She waits until he's at the doorway, then drops from the ceiling alcove where she'd wedged herself. Lands behind him. Arm around his throat, pressure on the carotid artery. He struggles, stronger than she expected. His elbow catches her ribs. Pain flares, but she maintains the hold. 20 seconds. He goes limp. Not dead. Unconscious. She zip-ties his hands, takes his weapon, his comm unit. Listens to the encrypted chatter of the team. Bravo in position. No target. Delta moving to secondary objective. Alpha engaged. Multiple hostiles. Translation: they haven't found Sukjin yet. They're headed for the panic room next. Tiana moves, fast and silent, toward the basement stairs. But halfway there, gunfire erupts from Sukjin's office. Heavy. Sustained. Multiple weapons. She hesitates. The panic room is secure. Reinforced. Minjun is safer there than anywhere else. But if they eliminate Sukjin, they'll have all night to work on breaching it. Decision made, she changes direction. Heads for the office. The scene she finds is chaos. Two operatives have Sukjin pinned down behind his desk. His gun seems to have jammed. His face is a mask of controlled panic as he tries to clear the chamber. The operatives advance methodically, firing short bursts, keeping him contained while they close the distance. They don't see Tiana enter through the hidden door behind the bookshelf, a detail not on the official blueprints. A secret Sukjin shared during their planning. She assesses in a fraction of a second. 2 targets. Armed. Focused on Sukjin. Backs to her. She slides Sukjin's spare gun across the floor. It skitters to a stop against his foot. The sound makes one operative turn. Too late. Tiana is already moving. No hesitation. Just fluid, efficient movement. She engages the first operative hand to hand. He's good, trained, strong, battle-tested. Better than she expected. He counters her first move, nearly dislocates her shoulder with a practiced hold. She barely twists free. The second operative swings toward her, weapon raised. But now Sukjin has a working gun. He fires. 1 shot. Clean. The man drops. The first operative breaks free, slams Tiana against the bookshelf. Books crash down around them. He's adapted quickly, fighting differently now, recognizing her training. "You're from the program," he says, not a question but a realization. "And you're in my way," she replies. The fight is brutal. Close quarters. No elegance. Just survival. The operative lands a heavy blow to her wounded shoulder. Pain explodes through her body, drops her to one knee. He presses the advantage, kicks her hard in the ribs. The air leaves her lungs in a rush. Sukjin tries to get a clean shot, but they're moving too fast, too chaotically. He can't risk hitting Tiana. The operative gets his hands around her throat. Squeezes. Spots dance in her vision. She's losing this fight. But she didn't survive this long by fighting fair. Her hand finds a heavy book on the floor. Swings it hard. Connects with the operative's temple. He stumbles, grip loosening. She follows with a strike to his throat. Not killing, but disabling. He stumbles back, choking. Suk-jin fires. The operative falls. Tiana stays on the floor a moment, gasping for breath. Her shoulder burns. Ribs scream with each inhale. She forces herself up, using the desk for support. "You're bleeding," Suk-jin observes, moving to her side. "Doesn't matter," she manages. Min-jun. They find the last operative in the basement hallway, outside the panic room. He's setting charges on the reinforced door. Small, precise explosives designed to break the seal without destroying what's inside. He senses them coming, turns, fires. Tiana shoves Suk-jin aside, takes cover behind a support column. The bullet chips concrete near her head. Suk-jin returns fire from his position behind a storage cabinet. The operative ducks, but he's exposed, caught between them with limited cover. Tiana uses the moment to advance, moving from column to column. The operative sees her, adjusts his aim. Fires again. This time, the bullet finds her. Hits her already injured shoulder. The impact spins her, sends her crashing against the wall. The operative turns his weapon towards Suk-jin, ready to finish this. But Tiana isn't finished. Despite the pain, despite the blood now soaking her shirt, she pushes off the wall. Launches herself at the operative in a desperate, final effort. They collide. Go down hard. The gun skitters away across the concrete floor. Suk-jin moves forward, his own weapon ready. But they're grappling too closely. Rolling, striking, a desperate struggle for survival. The operative gets the upper hand. Pins Tiana down. His hands go to her throat. Suk-jin doesn't hesitate. One shot. Precise. The operative collapses on top of Tiana, dead weight. Silence falls over the basement. Just the sound of ragged breathing and the distant wail of approaching sirens. Suk-jin helps roll the body off Tiana. She sits up slowly, pressing a hand to her bleeding shoulder. "Are you hit anywhere else?" he asks. She shakes her head. "Just reopened the old wound. I'll live." They look at the panic room door, the charges still attached but not detonated. "Min-jun," Suk-jin breathes, moving to the intercom. "Min-jun, it's Dad. Are you there?" A small, scared voice comes through the speaker. "Dad? Tiana? Are you okay?" "We're okay," Suk-jin says, relief washing over his face. "It's safe now. We're coming to get you." He punches in the code. The heavy door hisses as the pressure seal releases. Swings open slowly. Min-jun stands there, pale but unharmed, clutching her stuffed rabbit. She looks at them both, her father with his torn suit and bruised face, Tiana with her blood-soaked shirt, and does something unexpected. She doesn't scream. Doesn't cry. Just runs forward and throws her arms around both of them. "You came back," she whispers. "You both came back." Suk-jin's arm encircles his daughter protectively. His other hand, almost unconsciously, steadies Tiana as she sways slightly from blood loss. For one moment, the three of them stand together, connected by something stronger than fear. Then duty. Then revenge. Then Tiana's legs give out, and the moment breaks. "We need a medic," Suk-jin says, helping her sit down against the wall. "Now." Min-jun kneels beside Tiana, small face pinched with worry. "You're hurt bad." Tiana manages a weak smile. "I've had worse." "You kept your promise," Min-jun says solemnly. "I don't break promises to kids," Tiana replies. Suk-jin pulls out his phone, barks orders for medical assistance. As he turns back, his eyes meet Tiana's. Something passes between them, understanding, respect, maybe even trust. Min-jun takes Tiana's hand in both of hers, holds it tight, as if by sheer will she can keep the woman from slipping away. And in that moment, surrounded by violence and blood, something fragile begins to heal. Morning light filters through the windows of Suk-jin's estate. It's been 3 hours since the attack ended. 3 hours of controlled chaos. In the living room, a private doctor finishes stitching Tiana's shoulder. Not hospital-grade care, but better than most emergency rooms. No questions. No records. Cash payment. The bullet went clean through, the doctor says, taping a bandage over his work. You're lucky. Half an inch to the right and you'd have lost the use of your arm. Tiana doesn't respond. Luck has nothing to do with surviving. Rest. No exertion for at least 2 weeks. The doctor packs his bag, glances at Suk-jin who stands in the doorway. She needs antibiotics. And blood. She's lost too much. Suk-jin nods. It's handled. The doctor leaves. Tiana and Suk-jin remain, silence settling between them like dust after an explosion. Outside, the bodies have been removed. The evidence cleaned. The official story, a home invasion, stopped by private security. Money changing hands will ensure the police ask no further questions. But some things can't be erased so easily. Minjun? Tiana asks, voice hoarse from the operative's stranglehold. Asleep. Finally. Suk-jin moves into the room, sits in the chair opposite her. Park is with her. Tiana nods, wincing at the movement. The pain medication hasn't fully kicked in yet. Harris will know by now, she says. His team missed their check-in. Let him come. Suk-jin's voice is cold. I've doubled security. Called in favors. The estate is locked down tight. It won't be enough. Tiana shifts, trying to find a position that doesn't hurt. He won't send another team. He'll come himself. Different approach. You know him well. Better than I want to. She meets his gaze. He created us. Knew what made each of us break. Suk-jin leans forward, elbows on his knees. Then tell me how to kill him. A ghost of a smile touches Tiana's lips. I've been trying to figure that out for 6 years. The door opens. Park enters, his usual composure frayed at the edges. Sir, we've got movement. Black SUV circling the neighborhood. Government plates. Suk-jin and Tiana exchange glances. It's starting, she says. 7 a.m. Minjun sits in the kitchen, pushing scrambled eggs around her plate. The events of the night have left her quiet, subdued, but not broken. Just processing, in her own 9-year-old way. Not hungry? Tiana asks, entering carefully, one arm in a sling. Minjun looks up, face brightening. You're up. Dad said you had to stay in bed. Your dad says a lot of things. Tiana eases herself onto a chair, trying not to show how much effort it takes. But I wanted to check on you. Minjun studies her with surprising intensity. Are the bad men coming back? No point lying to her. Not after what she's seen. Maybe. But not the same ones. Because you and Dad stopped them. Yes. Minjun nods, accepting this with the directness of a child. Will you teach me more? So I can help next time? Something flickers in Tiana's eyes. Pain, perhaps. Or regret. There are better things for you to learn. Like what? Like being a kid. Making friends. Normal things. Minjun's face scrunches in confusion. But what about being strong? There's more than one kind of strength. Tiana reaches out with her good arm, tucks a strand of hair behind Minjun's ear. A gesture so simple, yet so foreign to her that it feels like speaking a language she barely knows. The kind I taught you, it comes at a price. What price? Before Tiana can answer, Sukjin appears in the doorway. His eyes move between them, catching the intimacy of the moment. Minjun, he says. Go get dressed. We're leaving in an hour. The girl looks surprised. Where are we going? Jeju Island. For a little while. Minjun brightens. Is Tiana coming too? A beat of silence. We'll discuss that later, Sukjin says. Go on now. After Minjun leaves, Sukjin sits across from Tiana, slides a folder across the table. What's this? She asks. Your new identity. Passport. Bank accounts. Everything you need to disappear. She doesn't touch the folder. You want me gone. I want you safe, he corrects. Harris is coming for you. Not me. Not Minjun. You. If I leave, he follows me. That's your plan. It's the logical solution. Tiana stares at the folder. Freedom. Escape. A new beginning. Everything she's wanted for 6 years. Except now, it doesn't feel like freedom at all. And Minjun, she asks quietly. I'll protect her. Like you did last night? The words come out sharper than intended. If I hadn't been here. I know. Sukjin cuts her off, voice tight. Why do you think I'm giving you this? A clean escape. Resources. Protection. My debt to you for saving my daughter. Paid in full. Tiana's eyes narrow. That's not why I did it. Then why? Sukjin challenges. Why risk your life for a child you barely know? For the daughter of the man who helped destroy everyone you cared about. The question hangs between them, heavy with unspoken truths. Tiana looks away first. She reminds me of someone. Who? The person I might have been. If things had been different. Sukjin absorbs this. Nods slowly. All the more reason for you to go. Before she gets any more attached. Before, he stops himself. Before you do? Tiana finishes, meeting his gaze again. Something electric passes between them. Not attraction, exactly. Something more complex. Recognition. Understanding. The connection of two people who have seen the darkest parts of each other and still chosen to fight side by side. One more day, Tiana says finally. Let me help you secure the Jeju house. Make sure Harris can't track you there. Then I'll go. Before Sukjin can respond, Park appears in the doorway, face grave. Sir. We've got a situation. What kind of situation? Sukjin asks, already standing. A call. For Ellis. Park looks at Tiana. Someone named Harris. Says he wants to talk. Tiana goes completely still. He's here, she whispers. In Seoul. Sukjin's office. The phone sits on the desk, speaker activated. Tiana stands with her good arm braced against the edge. Sukjin stands beside her, close enough to support her if needed, far enough to give her space. Put him through, Tiana says. Park nods, presses a button on the desk phone. Subject 19, a voice comes through, male, 60s, cultured American accent. Or do you prefer Tiana now? Harris, she replies, voice flat. It's been a while. A pause. You've done well for yourself. What do you want? To offer a solution. Harris's voice remains calm, measured. Come in willingly. No resistance. Why would I do that? Because you're smart enough to understand the alternative. A slight edge creeps into Harris's voice. 4 good men died last night. They chose their side. As did you. A pause. Grand Hyatt. Room 1412. Noon today. Come alone, and this ends peacefully. And if I don't? Then I start with the child. Suk-jin steps forward, eyes burning. Touch my daughter and I'll. Ah, Mr. O. Harris sounds unsurprised. Your reputation precedes you. But this isn't your fight. Noon. Room 1412. Alone. Harris's voice hardens. Or the consequences will be severe. The line goes dead. Silence fills the office. Tiana straightens slowly, turns to face Suk-jin. I have to go, she says. It's a trap. Of course it is. But he's serious about Min-jun. We can protect her, Suk-jin insists. Get her out of the country today. You don't understand, Tiana says, voice dropping. Harris doesn't make empty threats. And he has resources you can't imagine. So do I. Not like this. She steps closer. I've been running from him for 6 years. Changed identities 12 times. Crossed borders in cargo holds. Lived off the grid. And he still found me. Suk-jin studies her face. Sees the resignation there. The bone-deep weariness of a lifetime spent looking over her shoulder. You can't seriously be considering meeting him, he says. I don't have a choice. There's always a choice. Tiana shakes her head. Not for people like me. And what about Min-jun? Suk-jin challenges. She trusts you. Depends on you. What do I tell her when you don't come back? The question hits Tiana like a physical blow. Her eyes close briefly, pain etching lines around them that have nothing to do with her physical wounds. Tell her I kept my promise, she says finally. I protected her. The best way I could. Suk-jin's jaw tightens. I won't let you sacrifice yourself. It's not your decision. Their eyes lock in silent battle. Neither backing down. Neither giving ground. Park clears his throat from the doorway. Sir, the cars are ready. We should leave for the airport within the hour if we want to make the Jeju flight. Suk-jin doesn't look away from Tiana. Delay it. We're not leaving yet. Sir. Just do it, Park. The security chief nods, withdraws quietly. What are you doing? Tiana asks. Making a choice, Suk-jin replies. Like you said, there's always one. 11:30 a.m. The Grand Hyatt Hotel rises above the Seoul skyline, glass and steel gleaming in the midday sun. Tiana stands across the street, watching the entrance. She's dressed in civilian clothes, jeans, a simple blouse, her arms still in a sling. She looks like any other hotel guest. Anonymous. Forgettable. Exactly as she was trained to be. Her phone buzzes in her pocket. Suk-jin's number. I'm in position, his voice comes through when she answers. I told you not to come, she says, scanning the street for any sign of surveillance. This is my fight. You fought mine last night. Without you, Min-jun would be dead. His voice is firm, unyielding. We end this together. Harris will have backup. So do you. Tiana wants to argue further, but time is running out. What about Min-jun? With Park. At a secure location. 3 armed guards. She's safe. If this goes wrong. It won't. Tiana checks her watch. 11:45 a.m. I'm going in. The lobby is busy with tourists, business travelers, hotel staff. She moves through them like a ghost, drawing no attention. The elevator is crowded. She stands in the back corner, eyes on the floor indicator, mind calculating exit routes, threat assessments. 14th floor. The doors open. She steps out into an empty hallway. Plush carpet muffles her footsteps as she makes her way to room 1412. Outside the door, she pauses. Listens. No sound from within. She checks her watch again. 11:58 a.m. One hand goes to the small of her back, where a knife is concealed, the only weapon she could risk bringing. Her injured shoulder throbs, a steady reminder of her vulnerability. She knocks. It's open, Harris's voice calls from inside. Tiana turns the handle, pushes the door open slowly, staying to the side in case of an ambush. The suite is large. Living area, separate bedroom. Floor-to-ceiling windows with a view of the city. Sitting in an armchair by the window is a man in his 60s. Silver hair. Wire-rimmed glasses. Expensive suit. A glass of whiskey in one hand. Dr. James Harris. Looking exactly as she remembers him. Right on time, he says, a smile touching his lips. It's Tiana now, she says, stepping fully into the room, letting the door close behind her. Of course. He gestures to the chair opposite him. Please, sit. She remains standing. Where's your backup? Nearby. Harris sips his whiskey. We're just having a conversation. About what? About your future. He sets his glass down. You've impressed me. Surviving. Establishing a new identity. Infiltrating Oh Suk-jin's organization. I didn't do it for you. No. You did it for revenge. Harris's eyes shift to her injured shoulder. And then something unexpected happened. You grew attached to the child. Tiana says nothing, but her jaw tightens imperceptibly. It got you shot, Harris observes, voice neutral. The Tiana I trained wouldn't have hesitated. Maybe she's gone. No. She's still there. Harris sets down his glass. The training never leaves you. Tiana's hand twitches toward the knife at her back. What do you want? To offer you a place. Harris's voice softens. The program has been reinstated. You mean with fewer witnesses? He smiles thinly. Come back with me, Tiana. Why would I ever trust you again, she asks. Because I'm offering you protection. Security. Harris spreads his hands. The alternative is to spend your life running. Always looking over your shoulder. I'm not alone anymore. Harris's expression shifts subtly. Oh Suk-jin. A temporary alliance at best. I think he understands debt. And honor. Tiana's eyes narrow. More than you ever did. Something hardens in Harris's face. I gave you everything. When no one else wanted you. You gave me nightmares, Tiana corrects. You stole my childhood. I did what was necessary. So am I. In one fluid motion, Tiana draws the knife from behind her back. Harris doesn't flinch. Doesn't even look surprised. Always so predictable, he says quietly. The bathroom door opens. Two men step out, weapons raised. From the bedroom, two more emerge. All in suits. All with the same cold, professional demeanor. Harris smiles sadly. Did you really think I'd meet you alone? Tiana doesn't lower the knife. 4 against 1. And I'm injured. This isn't about fair. Harris steps back, nods to one of the men. Take her. The first man approaches. Tiana shifts her stance, ready to fight despite the odds. Then the hotel room door crashes open. Suk-jin stands in the doorway, gun raised. Behind him, 3 more of his security team, all armed. "Drop your weapons," Suk-jin commands, voice deadly calm. Harris's men hesitate, caught off guard. Harris himself looks merely inconvenienced. "Mr. O," he says coolly. "I believe I specified that Tiana come alone." "She did," Suk-jin replies. "I just decided to join the party." Harris sighs. "This complicates things." "On the contrary. It simplifies them." Suk-jin steps into the room, gun trained on Harris. "Your men drop their weapons, or I put a bullet in your head." A tense silence falls over the room. Harris and his men on one side. Suk-jin and his team on the other. Tiana in between, knife still in hand. Finally, Harris gives a small nod. His men lower their weapons slowly. "A temporary setback," Harris says, still unnervingly calm. "No," Tiana says, stepping forward. "This ends today." Harris's eyes flick to her, then back to Suk-jin. "You think you can protect her? A man with your enemies? How long before someone offers me information in exchange for a favor?" "Enough," Suk-jin says flatly. "Tiana knows I'm right." Harris looks at her. "How many safe houses compromised? How many identities burned?" Tiana says nothing, but doubt flickers in her eyes. Suk-jin notices. "Don't listen to him." "I belong where I choose," Tiana says quietly. And before anyone can react, she lunges forward, knife flashing. But instead of going for Harris's throat, she slams the blade into the table beside him, pinning a stack of papers, his files on her, on Nightingale, on everything. "And I choose to be free of you," she says, voice steady. Harris stares at the knife, then at her, something like respect flickering in his eyes. "It's not that simple." "Yes," Suk-jin says, stepping forward. "It is." He tosses a thick envelope onto the table next to the pinned files. "Open it." Harris hesitates, then reaches for the envelope with one hand. Inside are photographs, documents, digital drives. "What is this?" he asks, but his voice has lost some of its confidence. "Insurance," Suk-jin says. "Everything you've done. Every operation. Every cover-up. Every child you took." He steps closer. "Including your private files. The ones you keep in the safe behind your office bookshelf." For the first time, genuine alarm crosses Harris's face. "How did you?" "I have connections you haven't accounted for." Suk-jin's voice is cold, precise. "Including 3 people on the oversight committee for your program." "You're bluffing," Harris says, but uncertainty has crept into his voice. "Am I?" Suk-jin nods to one of his men, who hands him a phone. "Perhaps you'd like to speak with Senator Mitchell?" Harris's face goes carefully blank, the mask of a man reassessing a dangerous situation. "What do you want?" "Simple. You disappear. From our lives. Permanently." Suk-jin gestures to the files. "These are copies, of course. The originals are in secure locations. If anything happens to us, everything goes public." Harris looks at Tiana, then back to Suk-jin. Something shifts in his expression, not defeat, exactly, but recalculation. "You win this round," he says to Tiana. "But remember who made you." "I know exactly who I am," she replies. "And it's not what you tried to make me." 3 months later. A beachfront house on Jeju Island. Min-jun runs along the shoreline, chasing seagulls, laughing. On the deck, Tiana sits watching her. The sling is gone from her arm. The physical wounds have healed, though a new scar joins the collection on her shoulder. Suk-jin approaches, hands her a cup of tea. Sits in the chair beside her. Park called, he says. Nothing on Harris. Seems he's gone quiet, for now at least. Tiana nods, but doesn't reply. Her eyes stay on Minjun. Are you still thinking about leaving? Sukjin asks after a moment. Every day, she admits. But you haven't. No. She sips her tea. Not yet. They sit in comfortable silence, watching Minjun build a sandcastle at the water's edge. I never thanked you, Tiana says suddenly. Sukjin glances at her. For what? For giving me a choice. A real one. She meets his gaze. I've spent my whole life following other people's plans. And now? Now I decide. She looks back at Minjun, day by day. Sukjin nods, understanding. Nothing permanent. Nothing promised. Just the freedom to choose. For what it's worth, he says quietly, Minjun would miss you. The unspoken addition hangs between them, so would I. Tiana doesn't answer immediately. When she does, her voice is soft but certain. I made a promise, she says. To keep her safe. To teach her to be strong. A small smile touches her lips. I don't break promises to kids. Down on the beach, Minjun looks up, waves for them to join her. Sukjin stands first, offers Tiana his hand. She looks at it for a moment. Then takes it, and together they walk toward the shore. If this story touched you, hit subscribe and let me know in the comments which moment stayed with you the most.